Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Interactive Horror Stories. Yesterday, or last time, we have done the doll and after funeral. So let's pick up with Crystal Skull. I don't know if I'm going to do 2 or 3 today. Well, maybe. I just noticed that there's a sequel to Crystal Skull, so I know we'll do at least those 2. Here we go. You are a king who's loved by his people. You have a serious problem, though. Your only child, Juliana, has an incurable disease and she is dying. You hear about a crystal skull which can cure illnesses and let people have visions. It is brought to your palace from the continent of America. But your man warns you that the skull might be cursed. Will the crystal skull bring health to the princess, or doom? Your daughter, Juliana, is ill. She's only 18 years old, and she has got an illness that nobody could cure yet. Princess is dying, and she is your only child, and heir to the throne. Every doctor you could find tried to cure her. You tried almost everything. Almost. You have been informed about a miraculous artifact unearthed in the continent of America. It is a human skull made of crystal. It amazes the scholars because no method is known to carve up such an excellent shape of a skull out of crystal. This skull doesn't belong to the world that you know, but an ancient civilization that has been lost. But what amazes the scholars is not just the impossible creation. The skull is told to bring miracles to whom touches it with their bare hands. Some people tell that they saw visions from the future. Some tell that they saw how the human race has originated. And some tell that the skull can cure the illnesses those couldn't be cured with the medication available to your era. Naturally, you order your best men to bring the miraculous skull to the palace. It's midnight now. You're in Juliana's chamber. She's lying in her bed, holding your hand as you sit by her bed. No candles are lit inside. Full moon enlightens the princess's chamber, shining on her long blonde hair and blue eyes. She is too weak. Her skin is pale. She has under her eye bags, showing her illness. You already suffered the loss of your wife 10 years ago. Now you can't stand seeing your only daughter slowly die. Juliana asks you with a soft voice, "Father, am I going to die?" Eventually, yes. "I won't allow that." She smiles. "I know, Father. You're a mighty king." I know that you will do the best by your subjects and me." The door of the chamber is knocked on. The servants generally don't disturb the royal family members at night, so it must be something important. "Well, come in." A brunette boy, one of your servants, gets inside the chamber with politeness. He looks at you and says, "Your Majesty, the artifact has been brought. You've been waiting for this moment for a long time." Kiss Julia's forehead. I will come back. After you kiss Julia's forehead, you say, "I will come back." And she brings your hand to her pale lips and kiss it. Then you leave Juliana alone in her chamber. At the exit of Juliana's chamber, you see Sir William, one of the knights those were appointed with the task of bringing the ancient skull. He is a strong man with black hair and a round beard. He wears gloves and holds a bag. "Your Majesty," he says, and kneels before you. Signal him to stand up. Let's go to my study chamber. Sir William follows you as you walk to your study chamber. The chamber is well lit with silver candelebrums. All the furniture are classy. It is a king's study room, after all. There is only one chair. It is for you. You sit on it. Sir William stands by you and slowly pulls the artifact from his bag. You push the books on the study desk to open space for the artifact. "Here it is," he says, and gently puts the crystal skull on the study desk. Now that's what the background picture is. The skull is truly a masterpiece. It is crafted by humans. All the details of the human skull are imprinted with care on raw crystal. Lights coming from the candles are refracted inside the crystal, getting various colors of a rainbow. It's magnificent. But you sense something sinister. Something that doesn't belong to our world. Touch the skull. Did you knights touch the skull? Well, getting the one who's handing him the skull had gloves on. At least he didn't. Yes, we did touch the skull with our bare hands. And we all have visions. We took glances from our futures. Some of us saw how they would die. Some of us saw our grandchildren. He continues. But maybe we shouldn't have touched the skull. The day we were about to leave, a native man came to us. He looked like the chief of his tribe. He knew little of our language. But he shouted some words that we could understand. Cursed! No touch! So we haven't touched the skull with our bare hands again. I can't let Juliana die. She will touch the skull. The knight sighs. As you wish, Your Majesty. But if you are going to bring the skull to her, I wish you would wear gloves. Touch it with bare hands. You ignore the knight. Touch the skull with bare hands and instantly find yourself in a vision. In your vision, you are in the middle of a ritual. There are about 100 naked humans all around you, forming a circle whose center is you. They are all prostrating themselves, worshipping you. It's nighttime. The plain area is enlightened with torches and stars. You see a step pyramid nearby. It is made of huge stone blocks. You realize that you are the crystal skull. You can't see yourself, but you're completely aware of what you are. These naked people are worshipping you, the crystal skull. Then the vision changes, and now it is not night, morning. It is raining like hell. There's a huge flood. Unclothed, red-skinned humans scream and get drowned because of the disastrous torrent, and you, as a skull, drift away. You open your eyes and turn back to who you really are, the good king. Sir William looks at you. You tell him what you have seen in your vision. Yes, the skull is mysterious. I can't understand it. I hope it doesn't bring harm to you or Princess, Your Majesty, he says. Let me bring the skull to Juliana. You thank Sir William for his services and let him go. You carry the skull to Juliana's chamber. You enter her chamber and see that she hasn't slept yet. She rises up and sits on her bed. She looks at the skull in awe. It looks marvelous. It's scary. You approach Juliana and let her touch the skull. She holds the skull, rubs her hands around it. Nothing happens. Is something supposed to happen? She asks and gives the skull back. Then she continues. Let's wait for tomorrow morning. Maybe it shows its effects then. So you decide to leave Juliana alone and let her sleep. The skull will be safe in your study chamber. After this tiring day, you go to your chamber. There are no guards at the door. You just trust everybody in the palace. You are a loved king. The furniture are luxurious in this chamber too. You take a glance at your reflection in the mirror. Examine yourself. You take pride in how you look. You are a middle-aged man, but you still look as handsome as you were young. Your looks are an important factor that makes you a charismatic leader, besides being fair and wise. Now go to sleep. You wear your nightgown and get into your bed. It is a bed for 2 people, but you haven't slept with anyone since your wife passed away. You have a secret that you keep from everyone. Sometimes you hug the second pillow in your bed, as if it was someone you love. You do this since your childhood. Nobody needs to know it. It doesn't take long for you to fall asleep. You wake up in the morning. Something is wrong. You can't move your arms. No, not only arms, you can't move any part of your body. You're paralyzed. Then suddenly your body starts to move involuntarily. It stands up without consent. Your feet bring you to the mirror. You can see your face in the mirror. You're terrified. There's a grin on your face. You're no longer in control of your body. You're merely bystander what it does. It brings you to the throne room with confident steps. Soldiers salute you, to be exact, it, as you enter. It sits on the throne and shouts with your voice, "Bring me my daughter!" You watch guards accompany Juliana as she comes into your presence. It shouts, "I don't want her suffering anymore. Kill her!" Juliana is shocked. "What? Father, please!" She was not only surprised one in the room, everybody looks at each other with shock and shouts, "You heard her, your king! Execute her!" You try to shout, but your screams are buried inside the head of the king. And Juliana gets on her knees and cry in despair, but it's in vain. Two black masked decapitators come into your presence. One holds the crying blonde girl, the other holds the sword. You can do nothing but watch as your precious daughter gets decapitated. Her head falls down and rolls to the throne. The floor gets filled with her blood. Days pass. It continues to control your body. You mourn for your daughter inside the body that was once belonged to you. You watch it rule your country with an iron fist. It orders all the churches to be burnt and priests to be hanged. Of course, your people uprises against the new king. It surprises a revolt with violence. Anyone who stood against the king gets tortured, eyes are poked, skins are flayed. Soon, it orders people to worship it as a deity. The god king declares war against other countries. It doesn't take long for the other countries form an alliance against the god king. In a fateful battle in your capital, the god king loses his horse. The evil king gets killed while desperately searching for a horse. And this is how your soul finally breaks free to heaven, and you see your family once again. The end. There are 3 endings. Well, let's go for the other 2. There's something wrong with your life. Okay, I guess I just didn't remember that part. Okay, let's see. Alright, let's do everything except let's do everything but not touch the skull. I wouldn't allow that. I'll come back. Go to my study chamber. If you don't touch the skull. Okay, then she touch the skull. Wear gloves. You look for gloves around the study chamber, so William pulls his own gloves off. I will think you wish Juliana to touch the skull as soon as possible. Let's not wait for servants to find your gloves, he says, and gives you them. You wear the gloves and hold a crystal skull with the covered hands. As Juliana touches the skull, she closes her eyes and doesn't react to anything in the external world. You understand that she is having a vision. After 10 seconds, she opens her eyes with a gasp. Saw things! I don't know how to describe them. They were pitch black creatures. So ugly. Their eyes, they were red as flames, and they all stared at me. No, please keep this thing away from me, please. I want to be alone. You decide to keep the skull in your study room and let your daughter sleep. Father? You wake up to Juliana's voice. She gently holds your shoulder. You look at her. She has a happy smile on her face. Her skin is not pale, but saturated with life. She no longer has bags under her eyes. I feel wonderful. She takes a few steps back and starts dancing. You laugh at happiness, stand up, and hug her. Juliana walks in the corridors of the palace, dancing and laughing. You and the people of the palace are very happy to see her this way. She used to be like a ghost before. You plan a feast and invite all the lords of the kingdom. A few days later, every lord arrives to the capital city to celebrate the health of the princess. At the feast, Juliana is the center of everybody's attention. She talks with everyone joyfully, makes jokes, makes people laugh. When the feast is over, and it's midnight, everybody goes to the chambers reserved for them. You accompany Juliana to her chamber. You put a kiss on her forehead, before letting her sleep. Then you go to your own chamber and fall asleep in peace. You wake up to the sound of the knocking on your chamber's door. It's still night. You wonder who dared to wake you up at this hour. It's the same blonde boy who had informed you about the arrival of the skull. Your Majesty, I am deeply sorry for disturbing you at this hour, but there is something wrong. There are laughing sounds coming from the princess's chamber. It's her voice, but it doesn't sound normal. Now let me check it. You walk to Juliana's chamber. Like the servant said, hysterical laughter come from inside. You decide to enter. You see Juliana at the balcony of her chamber, facing back at you. She laughs under the pale moon. You approach her and put your hand on her shoulder. She turns back to you. Her face is normal, smiling. Just when you're going to ask if she is okay, she responds, "I know it looks funny, Father, but I am fine. Please leave me alone," she says. She stops laughing, gets in her bed with a smile on her face. You decide to leave her alone. You go back to your chamber. You can't sleep. You feel something is wrong. So wrong. The door of your chamber opens. There's only one person who's allowed to enter without knocking on the king's door. So you understand that it's Juliana who entered. Like you guessed, you see your daughter's silhouette. She closes the door and approaches you with a smile on her face. "Juliana?" She leans down to you, gently pulls the other pillow that you don't use. "Juliana is dead," she says, pushing the pillow on your face. You struggle, but whoever or whatever is trying to kill you is too strong. "The king is dead! Long live the king!" Why is your own daughter committing patricide, regicide, referring to herself as king rather than queen? It doesn't make sense at all. That is the end of your reign and life. Regicide. I'm reading the Steam achievements. Okay, so for the last one. Eventually, yes. It is so sad. I'm a princess with ambitions. Ambitions to become a ruler. And it is certainly not about personal gain. I want to continue what you do. I want to be a fair ruler and make our people happy. But I think this is life. Death conquers us all. Go to the other fact. At the exit of Juliana's chamber, I trust your insight. Let's do it. I am glad to agree with me, Your Majesty. He packs the crystal skull back into the bag. You two give outside the palace and get on your horses to ride to the docks. When you reach the docks, Sir William finds stones and fills a bag with it. Then he throws the bag, your only hope for carrying Juliana, to the bottom of the dark sea. I know how hard it must be, but maybe this is the best for all of us. You hope that he is right. Get rid of the skull. A sequel. This time you're not a king, but a libertine billionaire in the modern age. Historical artifacts are one of your vices. The marvelous crystal skull is brought to your mansion, and the interesting part is you can hear the skull's voice in your mind, and you can talk with it. It says that it will bring you joys no mortal can ever reach, but it demands something first. You consider yourself a lucky man. You're a European billionaire in his 30s. After the recent death of your father, your mother died a long time ago. You inherited the family manor and company. You're also single and handsome. Yes, you are a lucky son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. As a libertine, you have indulged in many vices. Those we can't mention because of censorship. You have never harmed anyone against your will, though. But all these wild experiences couldn't slake your thirst. You want to taste what was not tasted before. Conquer the unconquered. Nowadays you have a new interest. Historical artifacts. Prehistoric vases? No, you don't like boring things. You own Alexander the Great's sword, which you used for cutting the Gordian knot. You didn't obtain it in legal ways, but that doesn't matter to you. And you seek more. The summer night, your smartwatch shows 1:11. All your 6 servants are asleep in their rooms. That's the way you like it. You don't like being disturbed by their presence at night. You want to be alone at these hours, while enjoying your malt whiskey. You're in front of your laptop in your study room, checking social media. Yes, even billionaires do it. With a glass of whiskey and Cuban cigars. You remember that you haven't checked your emails for a while. There are 6 unread emails. 4 of them are business mails. One of them is from your friend Phil, another rich man. You will love this, is the subject of the mail. The last one is from Bill, an artifact smuggler. Crystal skull, he says in the subject. Let's read the business emails. These emails are from your employees. They inform you the painkiller medicine that your enterprise produces can't be sold in Sweden anymore. You are too drunk to handle the situation right now. This medicine ban is not such an important loss for your enterprise anyway. You produce and export many other products. Read your friend's mail. The mail consists of a single image. It belongs to a creepy clown with sharp teeth and a hideous smile on his white face. Low-key lighting in the blood that spills from his mouth makes the image even more disturbing. You have a phobia of clowns, and Phil knows it very well. Fuck you! I have to show you this, Bill says. The skull is made of pure crystal and nobody knows where it came from. You won't believe his story. He has taken a photo of the skull with his phone. The fluorescent light in his room is weak, but somehow the skull is clearly visible in the photo. Despite the quality of the photo, the skull looks amazing with its shiny material. You have seen enough crystal jewelry to know that Bill isn't showing something fake here. Let me bring it to your place? What will your response? What will be your response? Bringing it to the mansion. Wait for the smuggler. So you turn your computer off and start waiting for Bill. 15 minutes later, your phone rings. The melody is the Model Mio by Pink Martini. Like you wanted to know, it shows Bill as a caller. Hello? You pick up the phone, answer the call. Hey, it's me, dude, Bill says on the phone. Looking out the window, you see him standing in the doorway. I didn't want to wake your people up. Open the door for me, will you? You leave your study room, descend the stairs. Your study room is at the 3rd floor of the mansion, approximately 4.5 feet and 32 centimeters away, and open the huge wooden door of the mansion. Bill smiles at you. It is nice to see you again. I am sure you'll love what I got here. He shows you his full cocky sports bag. Well, you brought me a bag. You climb up the stairs to your study room as Bill follows you. After you reach there, Bill closes the door of the study room and pulls the artifact from this bag. Bill puts the crystal skull on your desk with a confident smile on his face. Oh God, you have seen many things in your life, but this skull is one of the prettiest one ever. The skull was made of pure crystal, and all the details of a human skull is imprinted. It refracts the lights of the room with elegance. Bill is ready to answer your questions. So basically, this is like a demonic deity, I think. How did you obtain it? Who crafted this? How much do you want? Thanks, I'm not buying it. It was afraid you asked that, because you won't believe me. After a long pause, Bill continues. It is brought to me by a diver diving the seashore. He said that he started hearing voices inside his head when he was in the sea. Find me, the voices told him. He swam in the direction of voices and found a floating bag. It is strange. You suspect a skull like this should have sunk, but it was floating, and the rest of the story is even stranger. Oh? After you found the bag with the skull, you continued hearing voices. He gave me my phone number. He told me he would never do any illegal shit like giving a historical artifact to a smuggler, but he couldn't disobey the voices. And he won't believe me, but when I touched the skull, I began seeing shit. Beautiful shit. I saw myself fucking 2 hot bitches. Can you believe it, dude? Oh shit. I don't expect you to believe me anyway, but you should touch the skull. Too, come on, touch it. Let's touch it. You approach the skull and touch it with your bare hand, and the vision starts. You're something magnificent. Definitely not a human anymore. Something way beyond human. A cosmic entity. You're omniscient. You can see and hear the whole universe. No secrets are kept from you. You are inside of every mind that exists on Earth. Now you see yourself in the form of a human. You're at the top of a hill, under the sun. You're not alone. There are millions of people around the hill. They are all naked and on their knees. They chant your name. And you know they are yours. And the vision ends. It feels like you hit the ground when you're flying high in the heavens. You find yourself touching the skull, and Bill is looking at you with a smile. I told you, the skull is magical. Bill is ready to answer more of your questions. I have no idea. The skull was found in the bag in the sea. It resembles nothing I have ever sold or heard. I didn't even know that it was possible to craft a baby like this. Look at it. Isn't it wonderful? €1,000,000. I hope. Normally I would sell my auction, but really I don't want to keep this thing. I feel like I can lose it if I keep it for more than a few hours. You have bought much more boring things for higher prices. Great! Make the money transfer and the skull is yours. Transfer it. You open your computer once again. Of course you don't use banks for illegal stuff like that. Instead you open your Bitcoin account. With a few clicks, all the money is sent to the smuggler. It doesn't take long for Bill's phone to beep. He looks up to his phone and smiles. Yeah, that was a good deal, dude. He waves at you while leaving the study room with his empty bag. If you want anything, you know whom to call. Soon, you hear Bill's car leaving the mansion. Now you are alone in your study room with the skull. Touch it again. As you touch the skull, something strange happens. All the lights in the room go off, but the crystals start to shine and emit white light, illuminating the room. You hear a voice, male or female, you can't figure it out. In your mind, greetings, mortal. You feel the skull gazes into your soul. I can hear you. Talk to me. Who are you? I've got many names, Ross. Zerocell is one of them. Some perceive me as an angel, some as a demon, some as a god. The truth is, there are forces in the universe inconceivable to tiny human mind, and I am one of those forces. For ages I have been worshipped by mankind and the entities unknown to your world, but I am forgotten. I am preparing for my return. Oh. So I say, oh. What are you? I just told you. Wrong question. It's who, not what. I see, hear, and know everything. My existence is far beyond this material skull. Yes, I know who you are, like I know everything else. You are a billionaire who's afraid of clowns and hasn't earned his fortune with hard work. You want to taste all kinds of joy on earth. I can give you what you want. It was not a coincidence that the diver and Bill brought me to you. Yes, I can give you what you want. What would you give me? You are stuck in a mortal human body. You can be a cosmic entity like me. You know everything. Be ageless, immortal, and worshipped. But I demand something first. Ancient civilizations always offer me something valuable. They sacrifice human lives for me. I want you to kill someone innocent. I am interested. Okay, I know someone who you can kill. Nobody cares about the lives of prostitutes. You'll find a young girl in the alley that you always buy something. You know what it is. Her name is Nina. She has short red hair, and she is a virgin. This is going to be her first and last night she does her job. You will recognize her when you see her. You won't need to hide anything after you sacrifice her to me, as she will be above all the law of humans. Deal. I know you possess Alexander's sword, and keep it in the basement alongside with your wine bottles. I want you to kill Nina with it. Go get to your car. I am waiting. So you leave your study room, descend the staircase, and go to your garage where you keep your expensive cars. You have a sports car with a distinctive red color, another black car that looks like a vigilante with a bat costume you would drive. You can choose one of them to bring a prostitute to your mansion. Well, let's be discreet. So you get in your black car and drive to the alley that you always find your thing we won't name here. Despite the high horsepower of your car, you drive slowly in order to examine the people on the alley. The alley is almost isolated. Well, so much for you being a street high horsepower. Who's that? You see only a few people. You know that they don't sell legal things. We already established that like 4 times. And you see the silhouette of a girl with very short skirt and long legs. Clearly a prostitute, but somehow still a virgin. You said it's the first time, but then keep bouncing back. She smokes a cigarette, but she coughs with every breath as she takes from it. As you approach her, you see that she has red hair like the crystal skull described. She notices your car. Sound the horn. She approaches your black car's window. She looks quite young and naive. Cute, but you are here for something else. Excuse me, sir. I believe that you seek some fun, don't you? Who doesn't? That's good. I can give you what you want for 40 pounds. Euros. I'm ashamed. I can't tell the difference between the euro and the pound sign. Get in the car. Or deal. That's not better. She gets into your car and sits on the seat next to you. You start your car. She says, "We bring me back here after the job is done. I'm not that interested. Experienced, to be honest." Guess I will. Thank you, sir. You're welcome. You have about arrived at the mansion. What is your name? It doesn't matter. All names are the same. You call me anything. But please let it be a girl's name. Let's call it Jill, then. Let's call it. Ah, that's really my name. You're about to arrive at the mansion. Why do you do this job? My dad is in jail. He's in a huge debt. This is the quickest way I can earn money to help him. So you finally arrive at your mansion. You stop the car and get off. As she gets off, she looks at your mansion with awe. Wow, it looks so pretty. But she wonders if I'll live here. She follows you as you walk to the mansion and open the door. The sword is in the basement. I had the impression he was going to take the sword with him. He held on the alley and had stuff in his car. You look at me as surprised as a mystery. I loved it. I wonder how this night will end. Me too. You open the door that leads to the basement stairs. You turn on the lights and descend, as the girl follows you. You walk past the wine cask. I'm sure that you have a good taste of wine. You had hidden Alexander's sword between two casks. Now you find and pull it from the spot you hid it. You stand between her and the basement's door, so she can't escape from you. Wow, that sword looks antique. Who used to own it? Alexander did great. Huh? Is this the sword he cut the Cordian knot with? I know a story. He became the king because he thought outside of the box. He cut the knot instead of solving it by hand. I was wanting to be someone great like him, but I ended up being a prostitute. You will be great after I sacrifice you. She is surprised as fuck. Because of your serious manner, she understands that you are not joking. What? Are you going to kill me? Please don't kill me. Kill her. That doesn't sound right. You repeatedly stab the sword into the prostitute's abdomen. Blood flows out of the slit on her abdomen. Her eyes are staring at you with disbelief. She falls on the ground as you pull the sword. You understand that she died. Killing her gives you a hardness in your underwear, as you are sadist who accepts the skull's offer without hesitation. You feel you are fainting, because maybe of the adrenaline of killing the girl, maybe something else, but you slowly lose conscience. While unconscious, the sword in your unconscious body fall on the floor. You wake up. You lie on the basement's floor, but you are naked, and your skin has a white color. It's white as snow. The sword is gone. At the end of the basement, you see a chair. You never had chairs on basement. And Nina is sitting on it. She is facing back. You can't see her face. Barefooted, you walk to the chair that Nina sits on. She doesn't move or react to your presence. Nina? She turns her face to you. There's no flesh on her face. It is only a skull with red hair. But she can still talk. You took my life. Her angry voice echoes in the basement. You feel her gaze upon you, even though she doesn't have eyes. You leave the basement. Something wrong with the mansion. All walls and floor have a rusty metal texture now. You hear a mixture of crying and laughing sounds, but you can't understand the source. Rusty walls aren't the only strange things. You see all your 6 servants at the entrance of the basement welcoming you. But they're not human anymore, but mannequins with servant clothes. They stand motionless with their heads are pointed at you. Go upstairs. You approach the staircase with the intention of going up. Go to the study room. You hear a loud choir behind you. Looking back, you see that the servants are now standing in a horizontal line at the bottom of the staircase. They somehow moved there while you didn't see them. They are staring at you motionless, walking the way to the exit. As you find your way to the study room, you see rusty metals invading every part of your mansion. The altered mansion doesn't cease to surprise you. You see a man, yourself, waiting for you in the study room. To be exact, someone who looks exactly like you with a black suit. He holds a sword in his hand. He smiles at you. Hello, my friend. You recognize the Crystal Skull's voice. Think you like how I look now? Think you like how I look now because I'm you now? I altered it to my liking. I told you I had powers, but I needed to regain them. You gave me a sacrifice. You gave me the power of manipulating the reality once again. I should thank you for that. But I won't, because I don't need you anymore. What do you want? I was worshipped in old times, but modern people have forgotten me. I want my rights back. You were a fool with money. You had the potential to be one of those people who rule the world, but you spent your money on your mortal pleasures. I'm going to use your inheritance the right way. You lied to me. Yes, I did. So what are you going to do about that? You feel so weak and vulnerable. You have no chance against a man holding a sword, should you try to attack him. Oh, I altered you too. He points to the rusty metal wall. A curtain covers it. There's never a curtain before. There is a mirror behind it. Look at yourself. You open the curtain and confront your reflection on the mirror. You are a fucking clown. You have a big red nose. There's a makeup around your mouth that formed the shape of a smile, but in reality you are so far away from smiling, you are terrified. It is permanent, he says, as you break down and start crying. Oh, now if you'll allow me, he says, touching your white shoulder, I have got places to go. He walks to the door with a sword in his hand. While he was about to leave, you see Nina at the entrance of the study room. Her body is human, but head is a skull with hair. We've already established that. Gotcha. Let me leave you alone with Nina. After he leaves, Nina starts to walk at you, stumbling, as if one of her legs was crippled. You should have never bought that skull. The end. This game has 4 endings. Well, let's chase them down. Now let's say we're not interested. You fall asleep. Mail's on your phone. On Facebook, the first posts you see are about the suicide of Phil, your friend. He died last night. It shocks you, because he's always been a happy man who loved to prank his friends. He was as rich as you. There were no reasons he'd commit suicide, yet he jumped off the 3rd floor of his mansion. About Phil, sent by Bill, the smuggler. I don't know what's strange, but I was at Phil's place when he committed suicide. I sold him the crystal skull and left the mansion. And then I learned that he died. And nobody knows about the skull. I think one of the servers took and hid it. After reading the mail, you somehow feel relieved. Maybe you saved yourself from a disaster. Lucky billionaire, says Steam Achievements. Alright. Well, if you want to sleep. Final step before you can drain, turn your laptop off and head to your bedroom. Okay. Thanks, but I'm not buying it. Okay then, I won't insist. Or try to sell it at a cheaper price. I can sell it to someone else. He passes crystal skull into his bag. See ya, he waves at you and leaves the room. Soon you hear Bill's car leaving the mansion. You can go to bed now. Take a long final sip from your drink. Turn your laptop off and head to your bed. You fall asleep. Alright. There must be one where I get what I want. How much you want? I want to buy it. That way. Then I will kill you and find someone else who is not afraid to dirt his hands with blood. I'm not afraid. I won't kill anybody. Suddenly you fall on the floor. You try to stand up, but you feel your whole body is paralyzed. And you stand up, but not voluntarily. Something controls your body. It walks to the window of your study room and opens the window. It climbs through it. With horror, you look at the concrete floor 10 meters away from the window pane you are on. It lets your body fall. You gain control of your body once again while you're in air. It can do nothing to prevent a fatal fall. Newspapers will write that the rich billionaire has committed suicide. Okay. The last one must be that. The smuggler, bring the mansion. Wait. Answer. Open. Move. How much you want? It's enough, I'll buy it. Touch its skull. You know who I am? Go ahead, give me. What do you man? I'm interested. Let's get you out. Go to the garage. Let's shoot a ready car. Sound the horn. She approaches your red car's window and she looks quite young and naive and cute. What is it, amateur hour? Oh, okay. Let me get it straight. Do you want to fuck me for 40... that? Deal! Get in the car. You're on your own. Okay, I can call a cab, I guess. I know your name is Nina. Oh? How do you know my name? The Crystal Skull told me about you. Okay. A part of running an international company is reading minds and hear the unsaid. She thinks that you are a fucking maniac, but she can't reject you. I was going to murder you, but I can't. You say, but you can't continue your words because you start to lose control of your body. You fall on the floor paralyzed. The sword falls with you as you can no longer hold it. You stand up, pick a sword up your extent. You hold the sword so that its tip is on your belly. This position of harakiri. You stab the sword into your abdomen and fall on your knees. The prostitute screams as you keep pulling and pushing the sword into your body till you fall on the floor. You get control of your body once again. But it's too late. The stabs are too deep and there's nothing you can do but wait for the death to come. And it comes before she can get help. So that's the other one? You probably can't see my Steam machines there. Well, we're all set for Crystal Skulls 1 and 2. And I will see you in the next video.